same mission, led by players you know and love. Now backed by a new ownership group led by Jordan Larson. As Rhule Nebraska, they're entering an exciting new chapter, pushing for a championship title in 2026 and building new opportunities for the next generation of players across the state. They want you with them. Let's show the world how Nebraska plays volleyball. Join the movement at lovneb.com and sign up to become a Love Nebraska insider today.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
After a long, hot summer, are you ready for fall? What about your home? Is your heating system ready for cooler temperatures ahead? Call Bryant for your fall heating check. No matter what brand of equipment you own, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean and inspect your furnace or heat pump to make sure you stay warm, safe, and comfortable. Call today to schedule your home heating check. 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
For remote starters, audio upgrades, and more, there's only one place to go. Auto Sounds of Lincoln at 48th and O.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is the Adam Carricker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carricker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carricker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carricker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carricker.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carricker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. The fastest hour in radio is back. We're going to do the pleasantries, Jake. All right, welcome to the Adam Carricker Show. The show that gives you unique insight, unbridled honesty, and producer Jake and I have a whole lot of fun. The process, you're going to hear Husker sports, college football, sports in general. Ladies and gentlemen, this fine program is brought to you by our good friends at Colligan of Lincoln. All right, as a former Husker and NFL player, I'm a bit of a health nut. Hydration and recovery, start at home. Make sure you team up with Colligan of Lincoln. Soft water means better showers, cleaner dishes. It protects your water heater and appliances. Their high-efficiency softener cuts salt and water usage. For drinking, added Colligan reverse osmosis. It's like bottled quality water right at your tap. Great taste and is certified to reduce tough contaminants like lead and PFAs. Right now, get up to $300 off a whole home system or just $9.95 a month for your first 3 months. Schedule your free water test at ColliganHuskers.com. That's ColliganHuskers.com. Colligan of Lincoln, water you love. Go Big Red. All right. We got like at least 3 clips we want to get through in this first segment. Then we're going to bring on somebody who is willing to be as honest as they come, and that's Michael Severe at about 12:25, 12:30. And I got a whole host of things. Whatever we don't get to, we're going to push it off to the third segment. Hopefully we can get through it. Wish us luck. All right. John Butler. His press conference on Tuesday. Go ahead and roll that clip there, Jake.
I didn't call the game as aggressively as I had planned. We started off pretty strong the first 2 drives, got into a decent rhythm, and then after that explosive run, that probably affected me more than it should, and it shouldn't. Every play has its own life. So what's going to happen on the next play is not about what has happened on the previous play. So kind of a what's next mentality. I've got to stick to the plan and say, regardless of what happened on the previous play, we still got to approach the game with an aggressive mentality. A little bit of a learning experience for, I think, all of us. But I don't disagree with that.
So he was talking about, maybe the coach is not fully buying into what the Minnesota game was going to be last week and how he called the game. Here's what I'll say. First of all, I appreciated his honesty. Second of all, Rhule said when you get punched in the mouth, you got one of 2 options. Either you punch back or you step back. Now, Rhule said we didn't step away from it, but we certainly didn't punch back versus Minnesota. It's almost kind of like we just stood there and watched what was happening to us, so to speak. So when you hear Butler's comments, first of all, I will tell you right now, a defensive coordinator's worst nightmare outside of a scrambling quarterback is big plays. And if early on in the game you give up a 98, a big play, a big run down to the 1-yard line, I could see how you'd be like, oh, man, you have flashbacks to Michigan. You have flashbacks to some other big runs, and it can make you a little bit nervous. I understand that. I'll just, all right, I've never been a Division I defensive coordinator, but my philosophy, whether it's a show that I'm doing, whether it's a situation in my life that I'm attacking, 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, to be honest with you, it's with the team I'm coaching. I've stood in front of businesses. I've stood in front of crowds as a motivational speaker. I've stood in front of teams that I'm coaching, teams that I've been asked to speak to. And I have been honest. I've said I would almost rather lose being aggressive than win being conservative, almost. That's just me. Like if I'm a D coordinator, this is just me. We're going to blitz. If we're a basketball team, we're going to press. If we're a baseball, softball team, we're going to steal. We're going to run. We're going to hit and run. We're going to do all these things. That's my mentality. Now I can understand, there's a big play. Ugh. What do I do now? First of all, you shouldn't hesitate. Second of all, you should know who you are and what you want to do and what you want to be. And you should have an identity as a play caller. Third of all, you got to be able to have in-game adjustments. I get all of that. At the end of the day, Rhule said he couldn't get the coaches to buy into what the Minnesota game was going to be like. And what that said to me was, and keep in mind, John Butler has so much freaking experience. The resume is extensive, especially as a secondaries coach. Not questioning any of that. It's only his second year as a defensive coordinator. As a defensive coordinator, he's relatively newer at this, okay? 1 year at Penn State, I believe 2013, the DC. Obviously, his first year being the DC here. I don't question the resume. I don't question the experience. I don't question the knowledge. But you have no idea what it's like to be hit in the mouth until you get hit in the mouth. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth, said Mike Tyson. In that moment, Butler made a decision that he reflects back on, and he honestly says, I wish I'd reacted differently. But it's a little bit of an example of the mentality, the approach, the toughness level, where it is, where it isn't at, all around. From a physicality, from a mentality, from how we're going to react when we get punched in the mouth type standpoint. So there are coaches who, when they get criticized, they understand. Like everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. This is still America. There are some coaches who create personal enemies with people who hold them accountable publicly. Now, I'm not speaking about John Butler specifically. I've had interactions with him. He never seems too comfortable in front of the mic. When you interact with him personally, he doesn't seem uber comfortable. I haven't been around him a ton. That's fine. Don't care. How do you call plays? Who are you as a play caller? Maybe he's kind of sifting through that. Despite his extensive experience in football in general, as a defensive coordinator, is relatively new. He's kind of sifting through that. And what's the culture? What's the expectation? What's the toughness level that's been demanded from coaches? From the head coach. You can tell them, but what have you demanded from them? I wonder, after I heard that statement, I wonder. Play this Arch Manning clip. Arch Manning is steadfastly becoming one of my favorite players in America. Now, he wears that god-awful burnt orange. And I'm not even going to call Texas Gag Me You today because it's how big of a fan I'm becoming of Arch. Can't stand Texas. Do I really have to explain all this if you've listened to my show at all? Arch Manning has been under a microscope like no college football player has been since probably Tim Tebow. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, close enough at least, yeah.
When Tim Tebow, what was his senior year? 10, 11? We're talking like a decade and a half. This dude has played awful this year. And it's bad. And he has struggled. And I have said since day one, he's never publicly bought into the hype around himself. In fact, he's actually tried to downplay it. His own dad said at some point they're going to turn on him because the expectations are too high. It's almost impossible for him to reach them. Now, he's struggled mightily. He could sit here and he could whine, he could complain, he could point fingers, he can get angry, he could do a lot of things. Or he could do this. Roll that clip.
Is that realistic, in your world? Can you really block it out? Do you have to just learn how to deal with things that are, said about you that may not always be flattering?
Yeah. I feel like I try to do my best of blocking out the noise, and then you get 100 text messages, keep blocking out the noise. Like there must be a lot of noise. So, yeah, I try my best.
Did you see, were you aware that there's someone calling you one of the biggest flops in college football, and how did you deal with that?
Yeah, I didn't know that. I guess I do now.
Thanks,
yeah. No, I mean, look, I wasn't playing well, and I'm going to continue to get better. But everyone has their own opinion, and that's what's good about America. So you get to freedom of speech. So it doesn't bother me.
What did it do for you when a guy like Michael comes out and says what they're going to say about you now, QB1 on IG? Like, how does that kind of help you out?
Yeah, I didn't see that either. I think it's important to not we won a game, yeah, but there's a lot of work to do, and I think Michael's a really good leader. He's the leader of this team, but you can't ride the highs and lows. You got to stay even and keep going.
Quick response, because we're going rapid fire this first segment. When you hear that from Arch, knowing there's nobody who's been more scrutinized in the country this year than him. Not many players have struggled as much as him. And I talk about Nebraska being a heavily scrutinized place. He's at frickin' Texas. Again, I'm not, out of respect for him, I'm not even calling him gag me. You don't hear his uncles coming out defending him. You don't hear his dad coming out and defending him. Now, his coach, after the Ohio State game, when asked if he was hurt, gave a ridiculous answer. I think we played it here. I mean, it was kind of ridiculous. But you hear him sitting there, and that's what he says. Under that scrutiny, with the way he struggled, what did the one guy ask him? You've been called one of the biggest flops in America. Did you hear that in the beginning?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. When I heard that, I was like, wow, that's a brazen way to just put it right out there for him then. What did you think of his response to all this?
Well, if you watch him too, if you watch the press conference, he's just kind of smiling and in a good mood. So I think, that would be hard when you're asked some of these questions. So, I mean, I love the resiliency. I love the fact he's fighting forward, blocking out the noise, like he said. And if you aren't aware, they did beat Kentucky, the game he was talking about. They beat him in overtime, but he was 12 of 27 for 132 yards his last time out. The offense has kind of been struggling this year. So, I appreciate I appreciate him being ready and kind of knowing, kind of like you said, what his father said, is that this is going to be a journey for him. There's going to be people that put him at the top immediately, but that's not going to be the case. He's going to have to fight for it.
I will never root for Texas, but I'm going to find it awfully hard not to root for that guy. The scrutiny, the way he struggled, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. Look, I've not played well. I'm going to continue to get better. We all know college football today is a little bit different than it's ever been. And if you're talking from a people watching and giving their opinion standpoint, it's probably tougher than it's ever been. And I went through a diatribe the other day of how every generation has their own thing that's a little bit easier and a little bit tougher than other generations. This generation doesn't have to do two-a-days. There was a generation, I was part of that generation that did two-a-days. Then we went to the 2-1-2-1, which I thought was worse, to be honest with you, because you had two-a-days, you go Monday through Saturday, you had Sunday off. The first year we went 2-1-2-1, we went 24 straight days without a day off. I was like, wait, can we go back to two-a-days and have a day off once a week? Like, I remember sitting in a meeting and Barrett and DeMario Williams talking to Bo like, Coach, what is going on? I remember Jimmy Williams basically called us all a bunch of wusses, our linebackers coach. I ain't going to step up to walk-on All-American and then NFL player Jimmy Williams. Plus, I was a freshman. I was terrified to begin with. But I remember that meeting, and Bo's like, he's sitting there debating whether to also call us wusses, and he goes, I'll just talk with Frank. And that's all he said. All of a sudden, we had a day off like 2 days later. But everything, like back, again, there were some coaches in yesteryear who did 3 a days, not a lot. But there was no social media. There's give and take everywhere. You go to the fact that some of these guys, and I'm happy for them, slightly jealous of them, not really, but I'm happy for them. They're making more money in a couple years than some people were making 20. Okay, so it's all relative. It all factors in. When you automatically assume what you're going through is worse than anybody else, that creates, wait for it, entitlement. And our head coach is the one who brought it up. He's the one who said it's here, and I'm tired of it. So it got me thinking, why? These guys work hard. These guys bust their butt. I don't question their work ethic. I don't question their dedication on that team. So why would entitlement creep in? And I started to think back throughout the offseason. Well, let me put final thoughts on the Arch thing here. I wrote some terrible notes here that I can't even read. I already went through all of that. Okay, wasn't playing well. I guess that's what I wrote there. I once got a C in handwriting, and the teacher was being kind. So my point is this. They're working hard. They want to win. They're not coming in with hand everything to us. We don't want to work for it. They're coming in with we want to bust our butt and we believe we're going to go out and do good things. So how does entitlement creep in? If you think back to things I've said over the offseason, Matt Rhule was trying to speak confidence into his team. We're going to have an elite wide receiver group. We may have a Remington Award winner, everything, all that stuff. Everything that was said. College football playoff push. Those are phenomenal things to say. But when you start to treat people, I won't even say players, I'll just say treat people like they've accomplished something they haven't, entitlement can creep in a little bit. Like imagine you've got a young man, 12, 13, 10, 9, whatever age you want to imagine. And the kid's never played, he's played some basketball, but he's never played real basketball at a high level. And he's going to do it for the first time. In this utopian world of one-on-one basketball that I've just magically created out of the air, join with me on this example that I'm kind of making up as we go along, but I hope it makes sense. And you start telling, dude, you're the next Michael Jordan. Dude, you're going to dominate. You're going to win Player of the Year. And he goes out, he plays some teams that are okay. He ekes out some close wins. He even has a couple of comebacks. And man, but he plays the 12-year-old basketball equivalent of Michigan State. And he starts to feel really good. But then he goes out and he's supposed to be a big favorite. Let's say this other kid is kind of short, not that fast, not uber highly thought of, has lost a couple of games. And this kid thinks he's going to win. Your kid thinks he's going to beat this other kid. And that other kid just comes and he's driving right to the hoop. He dunks it in his face. That'd be absurd at 12. But you get my point. Like, he's bodying him up. He's out rebounding him. He's out hustling him. And the kid that you've told, you're going to be the next Michael Jordan, who hadn't really accomplished anything just yet. This Nebraska football team has not done anything any previous Matt Rhule Nebraska football team has not done. Not yet. Hopefully they will. No guarantees, obviously. But one thing I forgot to mention is throughout the process, you would tell this kid how good he was, but anyone who would come after him, you would immediately defend him. Like, how dare you? You'd even say it publicly. Don't talk about this. Don't talk about that. You're having his back, right? And you're uplifting him, right? You're telling him how good he is, right? And the people come after him, you're protecting him. You're having his back. It's one way of looking at it. How does entitlement creep in on a team with so many players who work so hard and have truly dedicated themselves to winning football games? Is that uplifting? And is that having his back? Or does at a certain point, is there a line that maybe gets crossed over and it becomes coddling? If you think that 12-year-old who's playing the other kid, who's all of a sudden kicking his butt, but it's really close at halftime, 7-6, and the kid that you're coaching walks over to the bench, starts hanging his head, and you get upset at him, is that fair on him? Or have you coddled him to a degree, created a little bit of entitlement, and it's partially on him and it's partially on what you've created? I'm floating this out there as a theory because I'm a little bit stumped as to how this would have come in and how Matt Rhule in Nebraska football, can they make the changes going forward that are necessary? Like, I brought up the whole, you're not supposed to talk about Dylan's weight thing the other day. Like, why? Why? He makes more money than any other athlete in the state. He's all over the place in the offseason, which is awesome. And I said, if you're winning football games as part of the package, people are going to love. If you don't, then you open the door up to some other things. But why is he the only athlete in history that we can't talk about being in the best shape possible? I didn't understand that. I'm not saying there was coddling. I'm not saying there was these things. What I'm saying is, if you were to do that, and then somebody hits you in the mouth that doesn't give a crap about anything else except beating you and hitting you in the mouth, and all of a sudden they start hanging their heads, I can't help but wonder, because Matt Rhule, does that all make sense so far?
Yeah.
Is it fair? Am I just way out of bounds?
No, I think it's fair.
I can't help but wonder, because Matt Rhule knows there's entitlement. He said it. He didn't ask about it. He said it, and he said he's sick of it. And he owned it. He's like, it's under my watch. This is on me. I can't help but wonder if I'm way off base. I can't help but wonder if there's dots to be connected here. And if Rhule maybe is like, I wonder if I help contribute to this or not. Maybe not. Because it's ever since Tuesday's show, I'm like, how? These guys work hard. They bust their butt. The coaches are putting in hours. I have seen lazy people at that level. That is not them. So how? Maybe when you tell them they've done things that they haven't yet done, they feel like they've earned things they haven't yet earned. And then if there's a level of accountability that people get angry at and you immediately rush to their defense, that could be having their back, or maybe a little bit of entitlement can be created. Now, there's coaches across America, just speaking in general terms, there are coaches, everybody's different. There are coaches across America who couldn't care less what the media says. Not a lot of them. Lane Kiffin, maybe. But he can also say and do whatever he wants. Lane Kiffin, he can get away with it probably. But there are some coaches I know that players will screenshot them texts of things that media members have said during the game on social media. They'll send it to the coach, and the coach will, like on a Sunday night, start texting those media members angry texts. Like, in general, across the country. I don't know if that's great. Now, if you pick up the phone and have an honest conversation, like let's talk man to man, hey, that's cool. I respect that. And again, coming back to Nebraska specifically, the question now, again, before I go on, I want to make sure that makes sense. And I think it's fair to pose as a question. I've certainly been on my mind for the past 48 hours since my last show Tuesday, but does it kind of make sense to you, Jake, before I wrap this up real quick?
Yeah, no, I think it is. Again, you got to kind of walk that fine line as they were in the preseason at times of getting people excited for the season, pumping confidence into a young team, but not making them feel like they've arrived. And that was the weird thing though too, was like the whole idea behind it is, of course, you know, they got great amenities and food and all that stuff. So maybe that's what he's talking about. But you had to come back to beat Maryland and Michigan State. Where'd this entitlement come from? That little number next to their name? The 25th ranking, that's another one that I kind of thought of. It's like, I just don't know. It's just hard for me to see where that came from. Just on a 2-game winning streak.
I said all offseason, I wished he would stop with that. Personally, I felt he was just shortening his own honeymoon period, talking about Coach Rhule with all the expectations and everything. It's one thing to say, you're never going to see a team that plays harder. You're never going to see a team that works harder. And we're going to get better. Love that. You start throwing other things out, like award winning and things of that nature. It's like, oh, okay. Ooh. You haven't done it yet. I used to coach against this guy, and he had like such a good football team. They would just boat race people. It'd be 56-0 at halftime. Every year I'd go talk to Shane. How's your team look? Oh, God, we're awful. What? Yeah, man, they're terrible. We're not doing good at all. What? First game, 56-0 at halftime. I'm like, I don't know why he did it. I'd never seen another coach do that. I don't know that I subscribe to that. But if you're saying that publicly and then you tell your team privately, hey, this is who we really are, you better go do this. Maybe that's different. For me, I don't know. I hope that all makes sense. I hope the dots connect. But that 12-year-old kid who's maybe down 7-6 at halftime, hangs his head at halftime, and then he goes out in the middle of the second half, that much shorter, not so fast kid keeps coming right at him. and the score ends up being, 15-6? Is that on the 12-year-old? And again, it's just a random example. I'm making up as we go. I knew I'd make up an example. This is the one I ran with when the mic turned on. As a coach, at the end, do you look at him and say, I'm so sick of your entitlement? Or do you look in the mirror and say, hey, I'm sick of it. What can I do to fix it? How do I address it? What do I need to do to change? Now, Matt owned it. Coach Rhule owned it on Monday. He always owns it. But the headline of this show is, will Matt Rhule Nebraska football make the necessary changes going forward? That's what I'm kind of curious. How does he address these things going forward? Play the Dylan Rhule clip, because they had a players-only meeting. I'm not breaking news here. And I think it was very open, it was very honest, and there was a lot of accountability had. And the players are taking accountability. To be clear, this is supposed to be a positive segment with honesty in the middle. And if people get mad at it, I'm going to be honest, you're kind of making my point. But roll that Dylan Rhule clip, because in the end, it's about how they respond. Do they make the necessary changes? And I actually like this when I heard this from Dylan.
That it's honestly hard to watch. Showing clips and showing tape that it's honestly hard to watch from our standpoint, because we just basically allowed it to happen. But at the end of the day, all the players aren't pointing the finger. We're all taking the blame, and like we all said, we all took the shot, and that's a real thing. Like we all put our bodies on the line to go play and win a football game. So it comes with the good, comes with the bad, and so you got to wear it both ways.
Comes with the good, comes with the bad. Kind of like when Art said, I'm not playing very good, I'm going to get better. To me, if they take accountability, the coaches take accountability, Matt Rhule takes accountability, the players take accountability, we've got a shot to make the necessary changes going forward. That was my point. How did we get here? That's my theory. How we got here. How does entitlement creep into such a hardworking program? Maybe well-intentioned things leading up to Minnesota's game led to heads hanging at halftime and a team rolling us in the second half that had no business beating us to begin with. And as stupid as that sounds, I feel stupid saying it, but it's the truth versus what happened. If accountability is had, we got a chance going forward. All right, don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to talk to Michael Severe.
After a long, hot summer, are you ready for fall? What about your home? Is your heating system ready for cooler temperatures ahead? Call Bryant for your fall heating check. No matter what brand of equipment you own, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean and inspect your furnace or heat pump to make sure you stay warm, safe, and comfortable. Call today to schedule your home heating check. 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion, for happier, healthier, furry friends. Big news, Nebraska. Love Omaha is now Love Nebraska. This is more than just a new name. It's a tribute to what Nebraska represents in the world of volleyball. It's still the same team with the same mission, led by players you know and love. Now backed by a new ownership group led by Jordan Larson. As Love Nebraska, they're entering an exciting new chapter, pushing for a championship title in 2026 and building new opportunities for the next generation of players across the state. They want you with them. Let's show the world how Nebraska plays volleyball. Join the movement at lovneb.com and sign up to become a Love Nebraska Insider today. Ready to score big with your projects? Look no further than Edward Stone, the MVP of natural stone for over 2 decades. Edward Stone is cranking out over 30,000 square feet every week and offers a winning lineup of over 70 quality natural veneer stone selections. Their unbeatable variety and experienced team will ensure your project is a success, whether it's a home renovation or a commercial build. And hey, they're not just about stone. They've got an all-star lineup of fireplaces, cast stone, brick, and much more. Swing by one of their locations in Lincoln or Omaha today and experience the Edward Stone difference, your reliable choice for over 20 years.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Are you familiar with everything the Lincoln Children's Museum offers? Camps, field trips, and game day playdates are just a few of the extraordinary programs provided by the Lincoln Children's Museum. When you spend a day with your family at the Lincoln Children's Museum, your child's mind can explore while enjoying the many interactive exhibits they have, while keeping admission prices extremely affordable. Stop by the Lincoln Children's Museum today in downtown Lincoln, or visit them online for more information at lincolnchildrensmuseum.org.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
Midwest Bank is hosting our annual Thanksgiving food drive, partnering with local Lincoln schools to provide Thanksgiving dinners to families in need. We hope to provide meals for more than 120 families in our community this year. You can help by dropping off a donation at either Midwest Bank location, 7001 Pioneers Boulevard or 2655 Jamie Lane. Any donation is greatly appreciated. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life, your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
This is the Adam Carricker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carricker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the noon hour, and you know what that means. It's lunchtime. The lunch hour of the Adam Carricker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket is sponsored by our good friends at Mulberry Barbecue. Now with two locations at 11th and Cornhusker and at 61st and Apples Way, right off of Highway 2 by Lowe's. Both locations are open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Try their burnt-in sandwich, a brisket burrito, barbecue nachos, full slab of ribs, and a half smoked chicken, and much, much more, plus incredible size. Get fuel for lunch today or make dinner plans at Mulberry Barbecue, located at 11th and Cornhusker and at 61st and Apples Way, just off of Highway 2 by Lowe's. All right, now it's time to bring on our special guest. He is the executive director of the Jet Award Foundation, former radio host and TV reporter, host of Big Red Wrap-Up and Severe Reaction and the Let It Fly show, Mr. Michael Severe. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, Adam. How are you, man?
Dude, life is good. Life will be great if we win this Saturday. But let's go backwards before we go forwards. All right. Give me your thoughts overall. Let's start with the topic nobody's talking about at all, the offensive line. Their performance so far. What could we realistically expect, or what would you like to see going forward starting Saturday?
Well, I blame that loss on the coaches. I know that players go out and play, but you're only as good as your preparation. I don't think they were prepared very well for that game. I thought the play calling offensively, starting with the first drive, was poor. I think you needed to have a similar plan that you had to Maryland, where you came out and you ran the ball and you established it against a team that had given up 265 yards passing the week before to Purdue. So I blame it on them. Yes, the offensive line, of course, obviously is struggling. It certainly hurts to lose your, two starters during a game. At the same time, I think this team has to play a certain way to protect those tackles mostly.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it is they got to run the ball. They got to throw more screens. They need quick developing crossing routes. I mean, Bang 8 is fast. A Y stick is quick. The ball's got to come out of his hands. He's got to do a better job of getting out of his hands. But I think it comes back to, and I think Coach Rhule has said as much in many ways by putting his coaching staff out there, that they did not prepare well or well enough for Minnesota, a team that had beaten you 5 times in a row, where you hadn't won since 2015, and PJ Fleck loves to beat you. They did not take it seriously enough and prepare well enough to beat that team.
All right, a lot of questions being asked about Donovan Raiola right now and the job he's doing as the coach of the offensive line. I know it all goes hand in hand. Rhule said the backs gave up 3 sacks, and then a couple guys didn't run the right route. Obviously, some of it's on the offensive line as well when I'm referring to the 9 sacks. We also haven't ran the ball as a team. I know Emmett leads the Big Ten in rushing. He also is the only player in America that leads his team in, rushes, catches, and there's one more. It's like 3 categories. He's the only player in America that leads his team in all 3 of the categories. I just named 2 of them. But as a team, we're not able to rush the ball as effectively as we would like. So talk to me. Just give me your thoughts on Donnie as well.
Yeah, if I was going to hold anything against Donovan Raiola, I think it would be the lack of some of the development from some of the younger guys. Tyler Knack gets in there, and I didn't even think of Tyler as a guard, but they had him in as guard. And I think that he really struggled with communication and where he needed to be and just playing the position. And that goes back a lot to both Donovan Raiola and the other guys who are working with the offensive line. I look at a lot of the young guys who are in there, Machacek, who I thought was coming along, who we have not seen. I'm surprised that he didn't go in the game when they were having problems with Knack. That's the one thing I probably would put on Raiola more than anything else, is that I just don't think the young guys seem to be developing well enough, especially when you have tackles. And a guy like Corcoran, who's been through all these different injuries, who's played all these games and has been okay, but you haven't been able to develop one of your redshirt freshmen, third-year sophomores into being able to take that job when a guy goes down. Prohaska, who's been through all of those surgeries, and we know how Gatula has struggled. You don't have a young guy that you've been developing to go in there. So that's what I would critique the most about, is why are they not developing all these offensive linemen they brought in? Why aren't they being able to play when the guys in front of them struggle? That's the biggest question I'd have for Donovan.
I think that's a great point. Some folks are like, oh, he's not a great recruiter. I'm like, really? Are you sure? Grant Bricks, Preston Tamua, some of these other guys, I think he's actually recruited pretty well.
Yep.
But when Rhule stands up there and says, I forget which press conference he was, the young guys aren't ready. You look at who is playing, it's basically transfer portal guys and guys who were here when he got here, and Justin Evans at center. That's, I guess, Henry Lutovsky as well. It's really 2 guys. Everybody else was already here, or they are transfer portal guys. So I think that's a fair point. I'm not going to lie. When I saw this on social media, this just hurt my feelings. Grant Segrin, who was here in the spring, and Rhule actually mentioned him at a spring press conference, was named the right tackle of the week on the national PFF Team of the Week as the highest graded right tackle in all Division I college football. He had a grade of 82.3. As most people know, Jake and I, we love PFF, and we never, ever question any of their grades, but there that is. All right, talk to me, Dylan Raiola. Give me your thoughts on Dylan Raiola. Maybe the first 4 games versus the past 3, because he hasn't had the same production the last 3, and then a season as a whole as well.
Yeah, this is a season-long issue that I have with him, is that I don't know what it is, but there's something about his form, whether it's his feet or his arm slot or what, that's not allowing him to be accurate down the field. He is a very accurate quarterback at 14 and under. That's the mark that we go to long passes once you go over 15. And he is one of the more inaccurate passers in all the Big Ten in those throws. He missed 2 touchdown passes against Minnesota, probably be enough to win the game. Missed them both to Dane Key. If you can't drop the ball in the bucket on a fade then I don't know what to say about who's been working with you, who's been training you, what training you've been doing. So he hasn't been able to do that. That's my biggest concern about Raiola. More than some of his processing when he's in the pocket is that if he can't throw the deep ball, and they know he can't throw the deep ball, then think about how they're going to crowd those guys on the underneath routes. And it's going to make it even more difficult to get guys open. So whatever's wrong with that, he needs to get that fixed. And then after that, before the snap, we were told he's a genius. He knows how to do all these things. Well, there's too many times where you see the guy he's responsible with in the pressure where he is not, whatever reason, either compensating for that by shifting the line or moving himself out of the pocket to get away from it. So that concerns me too. But more than anything else, as a guy who was not a great quarterback, I do know this, that if you throw the ball enough routes in reps in camp, you're going to make the throw. You're going to get good at it. You throw it 10,000 times, you'll get at it. You put a bucket in the end zone and you throw it up and the ball's got to go in the bucket. Do it 10 times in a row every day. You're going to get better at it. I don't know what's going on, why he can't do that, but he needs to fix that, especially going against some of these teams that know what the problem is now and they're going to crowd those wide receivers.
I think you make a fair point because I watch him throw. His feet aren't great.
Nope.
His arm slot isn't great. I played quarterback, doesn't make me an expert. I played baseball through 95 in high school, doesn't make me an expert, but I spent a lot of my life throwing, so I have a basic understanding at least of how things should look. His fundamentals, they're not great. And I apologize, but it is what it is. When it comes to Patrick Mahomes type crazy throws, he does those halfway decent. I wonder, and again, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. That's just what came into my head. I wonder if there's a little bit more of a subconscious or maybe conscious, but probably subconscious mental focus on that rather than the basics and fundamentals. And that's going to make a huge, this dude could throw the deep ball physically. He's just not executing it. Okay.
Right. And I don't blame, and this is a systematic generational issue. You know, it happened when Steph Curry started shooting threes from 40 feet away. Everybody else tried to do it as well. And now Patrick Mahomes is doing this. And you see all these guys coming up doing the same thing. But in the end, football is so fundamental. And you know it's blocking and tackling. But when it comes to being a quarterback, you know your feet have to be in the right place. I don't care how strong you are. I don't care what you are in terms of arm strength. The slot's got to be good for the throw you're making. And for whatever reason, he's not doing that. And I know that there are a lot of people around the program that are unhappy. I just don't know what they can say because you certainly don't want to lose him because you know he has all this potential. But at the same time, you got to coach him hard. You got to yell. You got to get in his face. You got to make sure he does it right because that's what everybody else is getting. Dylan's got to get the same thing.
I would agree with that. So I played with some guys who would play at the Patriots. And they would come into our locker room after having been with the Patriots, and they'd be like, Bill Belichick yells it. And this, I know, everybody's going to look at this differently now. You got to keep in mind, this was 10, 15 years ago while they were still playing and winning Super Bowls. But he'd already won like 5 or 6 at the time, Brady. Dude, Bill Belichick yells at Tom Brady more than anyone else in the room. And there were executives that I would talk to later on. They said because Brady would let Bill yell at him like that, everybody else had to pay that much more attention. Rather than special treatment, he was the example. All right, you brought up, by the way, did you just blame the demise of the NBA on Steph Curry? Is that what I just heard you say?
I blame the demise of high school basketball on Steph Curry. If you go to high school basketball games, which I'm sure you will be going, you're going to see a lot of kids launching it from the logo. That's ridiculous.
All right, man. I love to throw that stuff out there. All right. You said blocking and tackling. The struggles, Rhule was you can't be leaving your feet. You can't be diving when you're trying to tackle. What do you see from Nebraska when it came to the inability to stop the run game? And Maryland, they only ran for 130 yards, but they were dead last in the Big Ten and only averaged 93 yards a game rushing, and then they bumped it up to 130 versus us. So why are we not able to be more stout in the run game and better at tackling consistently?
You know what's interesting about talking about the overall yardage, but go away from that and just go from long runs. So Maryland had not had any long runs, nothing over 20-plus yards, right? They get one really early against Nebraska. Same thing true for Minnesota. I think they had one, and they got one really early. I think Nebraska, in general, plays good run defense, but as you know, it's only the mistake of one guy that can cause that 71-yard thing, right? So the 71-yard run, Judy, instead of staying to the play side, he decides he's going to go, commando and go inside. Well, when he does that, that means that linebacker needs to get over the top. Well, Watson Trent's not that fast, couldn't get over the top. Then that puts you pressure on Buford. Now you got to get there and make it. He hesitates. Now you got a long run, right? It all comes back to everybody doing their job. And I think if they do their job, even though they're not stout, even though not as big as that 2005 defensive line that you were a part of, even if they're not that big, still, if they all do their job, I think they'll be pretty good because the system has been proven to be sound over years. But too many times when we go back and we watch these tapes, especially leading up to Big Red Wrap-Up on Tuesdays, and you watch the breakdown, you go, okay, that one guy, why is he where he is? Why are they not boxing this? Why are they spilling this when everybody else is boxing it? It seems like there's something being lost in communication about defense. And is that on Butler? I don't know. But, you know, you watch it. It's many times it's one guy making one mistake, which leads to the big play.
Well, if it's consistent communication issues, the offensive line has had consistent communication issues. The defense, as you just articulated, consistent communication issues. That comes from coaching, as you pointed out. I will say that 05 defensive line, we were a little oversized. Our smallest defensive lineman was Jay at 275. I was like a fat 290, man. Yeah. Like we were oversized.
I talked to Titus Adams yesterday. He was sitting at 305 by his senior year.
Yeah.
You guys were big. You guys were big. But, you know, and you had 50 sacks and you were athletic too. But the thing about it is you also had been playing together, you know, for that point for 3 and then the next year for 4 years together. And I think that's a big part of it. There's a lot of guys in there who got their first snaps or first real true number one snaps this year. And I don't know, it just hasn't clicked as a unit, I don't think.
So if we're going to talk about transfer portal, can I bring up Indiana at this point, or is that not fair?
Yeah, I mean, they've done an amazing job. They're not the only ones.
Yeah.
They're not the only ones. Look at Arizona State. You know, if you want to talk about a guy who's done an incredible job, look at Kenny Dillingham and look how he's going in there. You know, when you go in to Texas and you take a Texas player and you almost beat Texas with that player, it shows you what transfer portal can do. I like what he's doing. I love the fact that Signetti not only did he bring in guys from James Madison, but look at some of the other transfers. They're all guys that whatever level they played at, Conference USA, Sun Belt, they were, you know, first or second team guys from those levels. So he's bringing them in, putting them into their culture, a word I know people don't like to hear, but it's important, puts it in their culture, and that's why they win. Listen, I grew up a Penn State fan. I think you know that. I would have loved to have Signetti take over there. I would have loved for him to take that job because I'd like to see Penn State do well again. He made the right decision in the state of Indiana, I'm sure. But I like that guy. I like his attitude. And I like the fact that he's a really good evaluator of talent and potential. And that's what you have to have at this job.
You're so right about evaluator and potential and developing. Man, we've had a couple of, we have had a couple of swings and misses on the offensive line in the portal in the past couple of years. And those are things that you can't have. And you make a good point. Because Curt Signetti has made every other coach's job in America just that much harder because he's done it that well, that quickly. But you point out it wasn't just him. It's Arizona State. There's a couple other schools. So it can be done. All right, my man, last question for you. Oh, and it's interesting because you go back to the Michigan game, talk about long touchdown runs we allowed. So it seems to be, it happens every game. And I've sat in about 4 billion defensive meetings where the defensive coordinator is like, all right, let's take out the big runs. You gave up 53 yards rushing this game. Put in the big runs. It was like 250. And they go, those runs count. You can't just disregard them. And those are defensive coordinators' nightmares, along with really fast quarterbacks. All right, last question. Give us some keys to the Northwestern game, and who do you have winning?
Well, my first key is simple. You know, catch the interceptions that Preston Stone's going to throw to you. Preston Stone, no matter where he's been, has been a quarterback that's had a lot of turnover-worthy plays. He threw 3 to Purdue that they all dropped. Catch him. When they throw him to you, catch him. He was going to give you some opportunities. My biggest key, and I know it's silly because people don't like when you compare football to war, but as an Army guy, it's time to fix the bayonets, man. It's not about taking a shotgun and shooting at somebody. It's about taking a simple knife, attaching it to a rifle, and making people bleed. I know that sounds horrible, but when they ask the question of what makes grass grow in the Army, it's blood that makes the grass grow. It's punching people in the face. They have been too finesse and too many times getting pushed around and bullied by other teams. Do some bullying. Finally do some of that. Come out and run the ball down their throat. When they bring in that big fullback, which Northwestern will do, knock him on his freshman ass. You have to be more physical. I'm tired of watching Nebraska fall off of guys when they're trying to make tackles high and diving at people's ankles. Knock people down. Win at the point of attack. It's not a hard game, as we've been saying. It's blocking and tackling, and it is actually making the other guy hurt. They're not doing that enough. They need to knock some people down.
Dude, I love Dude, I love everything you just said. And I've never heard the term fix the bayonets. Can I steal that and use it at some point?
You can have. We all go through the training and basic training.
Dude.
Fix bayonets.
Blood is what makes grass grow. I am stealing the heck out of that for the future, man. Oh, did you give a prediction? Who you got winning?
Oh, yeah. I picked Nebraska to win. So I always go with my numbers, and my numbers say like around 27.8 to 17.9. So I'm taking 27-17.
All right. I'll take that. All right. I appreciate it, Michael. Thanks for the time.
No problem, man. Thank you.
Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. It's interesting because what I'm staring at right in front of me, Michael just 100% led into. My next note is Pac-10 team. How does that equate to Nebraska? Old school Pac-10 team. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hungry for something real? Come to HF Crave, Lincoln's favorite spot for burgers that are anything but basic. Locally sourced Nebraska beef, hand-cut fries, and bold flavors that'll make your taste buds cheer. Whether you're craving the classics or ready to try something wild, they've got the burger that gets you. HF Crave. Fresh, local, craveable. Find them at 48th and Holdridge or order online at hfcrave.com.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
Acreage owner getting ready for winter? Make it easy with John Deere compact tractors and gators from Acres Equipment. Add snow blowers, front blades, cabs, heaters, and loaders to tackle every chore. Right now, in-stock units are priced to move with competitive financing to fit your budget. Get winter ready today at acres.com. Acres Equipment, your acreage handled. Financing subject to approved credit with John Deere Financial. Not all customers qualify. See dealer for details.
Nutrition Authority presents Fusion 30, an ultra-premium protein powder ideal for anyone wanting to look, feel, and perform their best. Fusion 30 can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today for a free sample, visit with a certified nutritionist, and get better than internet pricing. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top-quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing. And we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Are you familiar with everything the Lincoln Children's Museum offers? Camps, field trips, and game day playdates are just a few of the extraordinary programs provided by the Lincoln Children's Museum. When you spend a day with your family at the Lincoln Children's Museum, your child's mind can explore while enjoying the many interactive exhibits they have, while keeping admission prices extremely affordable. Stop by the Lincoln Children's Museum today in downtown Lincoln, or visit them online for more information at lincolnchildrensmuseum.org.
Hi, Sean Callahan here, and I've got some great news for you. Koppel Chevrolet GMC is proud to be the #1 fastest growing GMC dealer in the Omaha and Lincoln metros. Koppel is also celebrating its 50th anniversary. We want to say thank you to all of our customers that have helped us reach these milestones. So come see why so many customers, including myself, are choosing Koppel Chevrolet GMC for their automotive needs. Please check us out at koppelcars.com.
This is the Adam Carricker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Almost missed the time there, Jake. All right. First of all, any thoughts you had from what Michael Severe had to say? I love having Michael on. He's insanely informed. He has no problem being honest whatsoever. And I love and appreciate both those things about him. You got any quick reactions? And I got some final thoughts here.
Yeah, I mean, I just loved his, the kind of breakdown. Like I said, very intelligent guy. But there at the end too, it's just what a lot of people are asking for, and that's what sucks about losing 24-6 is you've lost the physicality battle. Nebraska, one way or the other, just needs to get that back into the program.
All right, I agree with you. Stay with me a minute. Give a shout out to some sponsors, and I will explain why Nebraska is unfortunately right now the type of team that is the exact opposite type of team that I thought we would have if Matt Rhule got here. And again, will they make that? We're still 5-2. Favored to be 6-2 for whatever that means at the end of Saturday. And we have not had 6 wins before we've had 3 losses. I'm gonna stay away from the year in almost a decade, Jake. I'm gonna avoid saying that year. I'm so sick of it. So it's not all doom and gloom, to be clear. But this has been on my mind for a while. And then this was on my mind at Michigan State, at Maryland. This was on my mind after Cincinnati. And then Minnesota happened. I'm like, it's time to talk about this. But first, I want to give a shout out to Hamilton Telecommunications. Ladies and gentlemen, they bring you the latest in quality technology and communication services since 1901. Learn more about their residential and business services at hamiltontel.com. That's hamiltontel.com. Hour 2 of the Adam Carricker Show. The final segment of the Adam Carricker Show is also sponsored by our good friends at Suizo Construction, where safety isn't just a policy. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a promise. Suizo is hiring skilled craftsmen, laborers, concrete workers, and steel erectors who value quality work and a team that has your back on and off the job site. Apply today at Suizo.com. 40 years strong in business. Suizo Construction. Again, that's Suizo.com. SCHWISOW.com. All right. So going back to the first segment, Rhule was saying a lot of the positive things in the offseason, which, maybe that's not the right way to put it, but like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this. The other thing you got to be careful of when you're saying things like that is you want people to continue to, and I attach credibility to what Rhule says, but at a certain point, there may become people who don't, and they may just be like, hey, it's just over the top positivity. You don't want to lose that. Like, Matt Rhule is a credible, good football coach. So when you're saying these things at the podium, you want to be realistic, honest, and positive all in one is all I'm getting at when I say that. Now, when Matt Rhule was hired, I remember people were like, Matt Rhule, they're like, look him up. Not that they didn't know who he was, like they'd never heard of him, but they didn't know enough about him. Okay. And I remember when he got let go from the Panthers, I was like, Matt Rhule's available. Now, this was like 6 weeks to go in the season. Mickey Joseph had been the interim for like 2 weeks, and obviously Mickey was still a candidate at that point in time. And I put that out because I was like, Matt Rhule would be a potential good hire, possibly. And then he gets hired, and people were trying to learn more about him, including myself. What I found is that Matt Rhule's teams run the ball well. They stop the run. They're incredibly tough and physical. I was like, oh, that's perfect. Matt Rhule speaks well. Matt Rhule represents his universities with great character, high integrity. Oh, I hope he wins some football games. I don't know what's going to happen there. This is back to when he was first hired, but this dude is a fit for Nebraska. There's a reason Trev Alberts really wanted him here. And when I say really wanted him, I mean really wanted him here. Because you want to win football games. But the type of team that he was going to build, that he spoke to Trev about, that he had built, that he has the mentality of, is exactly what Nebraska people want in their football team. Blue collar, in your face, smash mouth, run the ball, stop the run, physical, hardworking team. I do believe we have a hardworking team. But Jake, do we consistently run the ball well?
No.
Do we consistently stop the run well?
No.
I think I can answer for Michael based on what he just said. He's going to say no to this as well. Are we consistently the more physical team who knocks other people on their butts, knocks people backwards, or is it maybe a little bit too much the other way?
Yeah. Not the most physical team.
We are kind of the exact opposite team of what I thought we would be 3 years into Matt Rhule's tenure. That doesn't mean we haven't won some football games and can't win more. But the type of team I'm talking. Again, when he was hired, I was like, I hope we win games, but the type of team he's going to build based on who he is, what he says, and what he's done in the past, that's what Nebraska people want. That's what I want year 3. I wrote this down. Old school Pac-10 team. This is not an indictment. The Pac-10 dominated the Big Ten in the Rose Bowl for years, right? Now, it wasn't entirely fair. It was 90% of the time a home field game for USC or UCLA, back when UCLA was consistently good. But Pac-10 teams, I grew up on the West Coast. I watched Big 8, Big 12, Nebraska, and Pac-10. They throw the ball well, they don't run it. They stop the run well because they have really good athletes and really good skill position guys, but they don't stop the run well. And they're not over the top physical, but they're really athletic at the skill positions. Who's that sound like? Who's that sound like?
Sounds like us.
Seriously, say it one more time and change your answer if that's not the truth.
No. I think that's a pretty good assessment of what Nebraska is right now.
It reminds me of an old school Pac-10 team. And I didn't say Pac-12 because Utah joined, and they're actually really, really physical. So I said Pac-10. Before Utah, Colorado was good like 1 year in the Pac-12. So I said Pac-10. And I'm just like, man, they had some good teams. I mean, Washington won a national title. Oregon's usually pretty good. USC had their reign of dominance. But unless you're just going to have like a top 2 to 3 recruiting class every year like Pete Carroll did, or Don James, or Mike Bellotti always had really good players up at Oregon, and this was before Nike really got involved, I'm just like, man, this is kind of the opposite style of team I thought we were going to be. I'm okay with good athletes. Hey, that's not bad. I'm okay with being able to throw a football. That's cool. Can we stop the throw? That's great. Are we physical? Are we blue collar, in your face, smash mouth? Are we the hard-nosed football team that I expected us to be? I can't say that we've shown that so far. And that's why I'm kind of like, the other note I have, we're the opposite football team of what I thought we would be under Matt Rhule in year 3. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Again, that doesn't mean we can't beat Northwestern, be 6-2. USC is good, but they're not infallible. I'm certainly not going to pick us to beat them right now. My point is, it's going to be a wild last 5 games. Wild. Hopefully it's a fun wild and not a frustrating wild. All right. My final thought, be wary of people who are always positive or always negative. You can't trust it. And people who speak in absolutes, be leery of them as well. All right. Until tomorrow, Husker Nation, go Big Red Nose. Remember to throw the bones.
A business's phone is the lifeline to its customers and potential clients. That's why it's so important that you can take calls seamlessly from anywhere, whether you're on the road or in the office. Hamilton Business Technologies can help ensure your phone rings wherever you are. We can equip your headquarters and any of its locations with the right tools for smooth, professional call handling. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we know how to keep Nebraska businesses connected. Learn more at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal